First step in solving this problem is we are going to multiply both sides of this equation by the least common denominator. So we start with negative 1/6, parenthesis x minus 18, in parenthesis plus 1/2, parenthesis x plus 2, and parenthesis is equal to x plus 4. So what we need to do is we need to find the least common denominator, or also called least common multiple, of the 6 and the 2. Okay, so least common multiple kind of explains what they mean by that, in that if we take multiples of 6 like 6, 12, 18, and multiples of 2 like 2, 4, 6, the first multiple of both a2, and that includes the multiple of, of it just 1 times whatever it is the same. The first multiple that's the same, that's the least common multiple, and it can be one of the numbers. Okay, so now that we've determined that the least common multiple is 6, we are simply going to multiply the entire equation by 6. Okay, now I'm really saying 6, and since this is 6 times negative 1 over 6, since I'm multiplying it by a fraction, I'm going to stick it, I'm going to create a fraction out of the 6. And if you have a whole number like a 6, it's understood to be over a 1 by default. Okay, so we multiply that by negative 1/6. Okay, and then we multiply it by x minus 18 plus, and then we multiply the 6 over 1 times 1/2, and we multiply that by x plus 2, and then we say we multiply this by 6, and I'm going to multiply this entire x. We could actually just say 6 times x is 6x, and then we can say 6 times 4 is 24. So again, we're just kind of multiplying this by every term on both sides of the equation. Now you might be tempted to also multiply it by what's inside the parenthesis, but this whole entire thing right here, this is just one term, so we only hit it once. So we hit the coefficient of it once. Right? So you have one grouping, you multiply the entire grouping by the 6 in this case. You don't multiply everything inside the grouping by 6. Because if you multiply, so at this point we're going to simplify. The 6 here and the 6 here will cancel out, leaving you negative 1 over 1, which would just give you negative 1, or negative x minus 18. You can divide 6 by 2, and that gives you a 3, which gives you 3 multiplied by parenthesis x plus 2 equals, and you still have the 6x plus 24. Okay, so now at this point you have no more fractions. Now you're going to distribute the coefficients. A negative 1 multiplied by x is a negative x. A negative 1 times negative 18 is a positive 18. 3 times x is a positive 3x. And 3 times 2 is a 6. And you still have 6x plus 24. So the first step over here was to get rid of fractions. No fractions. No fractions. Right? The second step was to distribute. All right, so second step right here. That was distribution. Distribution. Okay. And then the third step is going to be combine like terms. Combine. I'll just put combine because I'm feeling lazy. Okay. So we have a negative x here, and we have a positive 3x. So that's negative 1x plus 3. So negative 1 plus 3 is 2. We end up with 2x. Then we have a positive 18 plus 6, which gives us a 24. And on the right side, we still have 6x plus 24. Okay, now that we've combined like terms, now we're going to get all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other side. All right, so that's the fourth step, if you want to think about it that way. So the fourth step, so we're going to get variable one side. One side. Okay. So I'm going to say, let's say I want to get all the variables on the right side. It doesn't really make any difference. But let's say we want to get all the variables on the right side. So I subtract or get rid of this positive 2x by subtracting 2x, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other to balance out the equation. Otherwise, you break the equation, and it's no longer equivalent. All right, so you say 6x minus 2x is 4x, because 6 minus 2 is 4. And we still have the positive 24. Next, I want to get all my constants on the other side, so I subtract 24, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Those cancel out. Those cancel out. Now, 24 minus 24 is not nothing. 24 minus 24 is 0. Then we undo the multiplication of 4 by x by dividing by 4. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Those cancel out. And 0 divided by 4 is 0. And the 4's cancel out, leaving you an x. So it looks like x is 0. Now, we can go back and we can check, right? Go back to the original equation. And we can put these numbers in. So we can say 0 minus 18 plus 1/2 times 0 plus 2 is equal to x, or 0 plus 4. Okay, so negative 1/6, and 0 minus 18 is negative 18 plus 1/2, which is times 2, is equal to 0 plus 4, which is 4. So we say 1/6, negative times a negative is a positive, and 1/6 of 16, right, is going to be a 3. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Then we would say 1/2 of 2, or 2 over 1. The 2's would cancel out, leaving you a 1. And 3 plus 1 is in fact 4. So you say 4 is equal to 4. Check. So it does look like the answer is x is equal to 0. Now the proper form of writing that answer is going to be within set notation. Usually my math lab gives you the set notation and you just fill it in with a 0 in this case. So it's going to be something like that. Hope that helped.